Good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another Edifying Moments, which is brought to you by Ladies in Waiting. I firstly want to apologize for the lateness. We have a few technical difficulties. However, we have quite a stronger and will not allow anything to prevent us from having a conversation this evening. Greetings all the way from Ghana. As you see, my setting is very different today. However, we are. I'm excited. I'm ready for the conversation that we're going to be having this evening. As you are all aware, the month is all about Sickle Cell Warriors. So we are carrying on the series where we are speaking with survivors of Sickle Cell, and those that have know how it's affected that relationship-wise with the workplaces, or even if the children growing up and things like that. So this evening we are speaking with a lovely young lady who just in this time, and if I can't be heard, please let me know. Just on the side, please let me hear me. But you can hear me if I'm bring this closer to myself. Be sure everyone hear me. No, you can hear me. So I know that it's so I won't waste too much time speaking about like straight to conversation with object. The point internet is very, very slow. Right now, so like for this one, I have two objects. For another, looking to an instruction of who she is. So I think successful business the main class. And she's something like so wife. She's with the she is a friend best friend that has not communicated and I guess she's but she has and from the minute and today I joined with maybe we started the police she is pretty big
Hi there.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I hear you. Please let me know. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, because the network is sometimes
Good
it's very
evening. Are you able to
slow.
hear me?
Yeah, but sometimes it's slow.
I'm very, very well. I'm very, very well. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, sometimes I can hear, but sometimes it's a little bit slow and then it's buffering as well.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm online. Can you see that I'm online?
Yeah, I can see you're online, but your video's not showing.
Okay, fine. Okay, I need to come off.
Okay, come off the phone.
Right to work.
Yeah, I can see you're online, but your video's not showing.
Right. Okay. Can you guys hear me now? Hello?
Yes, perfect.
All right. Okay. So, bear with me 1 second. Can you guys hear me now? Hello?
Yes, perfect.
All right. Okay. Oh. So I'm just waiting on Mariska to come back. I do apologize to everyone about the technical difficulties that we are currently dealing with right now. I'm just waiting on our guest, who we seem to have lost in our connection with everything that's happening. So I do apologize for the delay of everything that's happening today. We will definitely make sure that this is rectified. So I think she is back. I'm going to add her back to the stream and we can start the conversation. Mariska, hello. Oh, we're back.
Hi
So
there.
sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm
It's
so
okay.
sorry. But I want us to go straight into everything. I don't want to waste any more time. But
Yeah.
please tell us a bit about yourself. And as I've introduced you briefly, but just tell us a bit more about yourself, what you do, where you are, and whether you've always stayed in the Netherlands. Sorry. So tell us a bit about yourself.
All right. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I'm so grateful to you guys. Yeah, hi, my name is Mariska Dankwa Mensa. I am 27 years old, living in Holland. Now I moved from Amsterdam. I'm now in Horen. I'm married with a great guy, supportive husband, and I have 3 children. I have a baby who's 2 months now, so that's why I was a little bit late. And yeah, my friends will describe me as a crazy friend, love to dance, very loyal and outgoing, and yeah, and I guess that's me.
Awesome. So you've lived in the Netherlands for some time. So originally, were you born in the Netherlands?
Yes, I'm born in the Netherlands. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So growing up, you with your family. How was growing up like for you before you were diagnosed at the age of 16? How did it come about?
Yeah. Thank you for your answer. It was hard. Yeah, let me put it this way. Since I can remember that I was walking or talking, I've been always been sick, and my
Mm-hmm.
parents never knew what was going on. But they saw that I think when I was 1 year, I
Okay.
started walking, and they could see that every time I got sick or every time, my temperature went high, and they went to the hospitals, to the doctor, and they couldn't figure out what was going on with me. So every time I was crying, every time I was not eating well, I was skinny, I was just not healthy. And they saw that, okay, our daughter is fragile. So we need to take care of her. We need to monitor her in every step that she takes.
Mm,
So it was not easy because each and every time that we went to the doctor, they used to tell us it's muscle pain, muscle pain, muscle pain.
mm,
And so I'm not quite tall. So I was
yeah,
like, muscle pain, what are you talking about? Um, but it was hard. It was very hard. My parents are very supportive. They've been always there for me. My mom is my best friend, and I always talk with her. When times, when times are hard. But I just, I really respect them, and I don't know what to say. I thank God for my parents because it was very hard, very hard.
mm,
Before I got diagnosed at the age of 16,
mm,
um, they have struggled a whole lot because
mm,
everybody's saying so many things. And so I also changed my the way of eating because my grandma said, okay, maybe um, peanut is not good for me, granite soup and all that. Too much oil is not good for me.
mm,
So let me try and reduce it. Well, she told my mom. And so since then, I started eating, differently, more vegetables and
mm,
yeah, but still it came, and I was like, okay, but grandma said I should change my the way of eating, but still I'm getting this pain. So what is it? As we've been praying so much, figuring out what can be the problem. As a
mm,
young child, you're all over the place. You want to play with people, you want to go to parties, you want
yeah,
to go to sleepovers. But because of the way I was, my parents always said, no, you need to stay home because we don't want you to get sick the next day.
yeah,
So it was very hard for me as a child as well. I got so insecure. I was
mm,
like, what's going on with me? Am I strange? Why is it that others can do this, but I cannot do this? Why is it
yeah,
that when I go to a party, for instance, the next day I'm sick?
mm,
Always at school, then one I can be here today and the next day they will hear, yeah, Mariska is sick. And so sometimes teachers think that maybe, your parents are lying or you're on a holidays or something.
yeah, yeah,
It's not like that. And mostly we cannot take stress. So with school, I was always sick, and there was always something, with the teachers and I and my parents, going back and forth, like, telling me I'm not serious at school. But it wasn't me. Eventually, when I
yeah,
found out that I had sickle cell, I was like, oh, so this is really going on. And so
mm.
everybody that was talking so much, I was like, you guys did not know that I had sickle cell. So it was hard. It was very hard. It was very hard. Yeah.
Can only imagine because you're going through something, but you don't know what exactly it is, and the
Yep.
doctors couldn't seem to diagnose you early
Nope.
enough for you to
No.
treat it, be aware of that. So I just want to know, like, so when you got diagnosed, at, at that moment, was it a case of like everything changed completely, or it was a case of where now you've identified that you have sickle cell, now you're going to do research into it? So how did you better your knowledge in terms of sickle cell and finding out what you could do
Yeah.
about it like that?
Well, to be frank, there was a great relief that I was
Yeah,
like, okay, there, I'm not strange, I'm not getting crazy or I'm not, I just had some closure in me, and I said, okay, so this is what has been haunting me all my life. And so I just ask, okay, but what can I do now? What is there for me to do? Because since I can remember, I've been always sick. So what more? What more will come? And what will you tell me now? Because I've suffered enough. I've been always sick. I couldn't really enjoy my childhood. So what more? But at the same time, I did not even cry at that moment. I was sitting there and I was numb. I was like, okay, sickle cell. All right. So tell me what is it? So I was okay. But I think later, because at the age of 16, I got very sick while I was at school. It was gym time. And as I said, I'm so busy, so all over the place. And so I made a misstep, and so I got pains at my back and I couldn't breathe. So my teacher called the ambulance and I went straight to the hospital. My parents met me there. And so from that moment, they diagnosed me with sickle cell. And I was like, okay, so if I did not get this ill, would they tell me or would they know that this is sickle cell, you know? So at the same time, I thank God that that day happened and they that finally found out that it was sickle cell, you know? So, and I don't know, I just felt some relief. I just felt some relief. But after that, I got home because I stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks. But when I got home, I really felt it. I was like, okay. So all these years, nobody could help me. Nobody could tell me something. All that you could say is muscle pain. And to be frank, my doctor wrote me a letter. She sent me a email on my old email address. And she said, I'm so sorry. I did not know it was sickle cell. All I've been saying to you is muscle pain, muscle pain. And I had her for a very long time. I don't have her now because she's staying somewhere else. But I felt like it's not your fault. You did not know that this was sickle cell, you know, and it just came when I was 60. I'm now 27. So at that moment, that is when they diagnosed and when they found out there is a illness called sickle cell. So I can't blame her, you know, but it's just awful that you've been, you know, walking around with this disease and you did not know what it's called like. So it was hard. Yeah, it was hard.
And so after being diagnosed, things like that, how did it affect your relationships with opposite sexes, with just friends in general? Because from my previous interview with another young lady who's also a sickle cell survivor, she mentioned about losing a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Did you go through the same experience?
Well, I was always good with friends. You know, I never had problems with me being diagnosed with sickle cell and that maybe people were not being around me or something. I always had support, but what I could say is that my fellow Ghanaians, like our aunties, our uncles, they're awful. What I've been through because of them, they talking so much. Sometimes they can see my mom outside and then they say, yeah, your daughter is always sick. Will she be able to, carry children? Will she be able to find a partner? All these crazy things is awful. I can laugh right now, but it was not. And at times my mom can cry. Because how can you say that to someone's mom who is dealing with a child who is always sick, as if we are not suffering enough? I have been through so much.
Take
I
your
tell
time.
you,
Yeah.
it's only God. And the funny thing is, you don't see it on the outside. You don't, because the way I am such a fun person to be around with, not to boost or anything. I just love life. I love people, and you just can't see it on the outside, and that's awful. So sometimes, when you go for job interviews or something and you say, yeah, I'm sickle cell, it's like, what are you talking about? When you're sick, it's like, yeah, but yesterday we're okay, yesterday we're laughing. It's crazy, so all these negative things telling, not straight to me but to my parents, it's awful. So I never had problems with my friends or stuff. No, I really had great friends, always supportive. But it's just, yeah, the people around us, our aunties or uncles that could say something like that. And the funny thing is that they have, they also have children. And I don't want to say anything bad, but we are not God, and you do not know what your child, will go through. So you saying that to my mom will hurt her, and if she even cries about it, it will be how do you say that? Yeah, it can affect you as well because you're hurting someone, and if you don't know someone's situation, don't say anything. So it was awful. Each and every time when they hear I'm in the hospital, then they started talking, sometimes gossiping at church. Yeah, she's sick again. Yeah, she's sick again. But look at me now. God is so good, sis. God is so good. I am married with a great husband. He's so supportive, and I have a great support system from my mother, my parents, my brother. They're always there for me. And I have three children, me, Mariska, looking at my past. It was hard. It was so hard. Every pregnancy was hard. While I'm talking to you now, I'm still um, 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 recovering from my birth because, yeah, this time it was hard. The sickle cell crisis came up and down, while I'm pregnant, your stomach is growing and the pain is coming. It's hard. It's really hard. And as I'm talking to you now, I can't really walk well. And it's all because of sickle cell. It's hard, sis. So people don't know, they just don't know what this illness can do with you. Hearing that people are talking that, yeah, I'm not sure she will get married. Yeah, I don't think she will have children. To hear these things, yeah, it's hard, but I thank God, and that's why I always say in my videos on Instagram, we are not sickle cell patients, we are warriors, because God know what we can do. We are capable of so much, And I remember me growing up, when I got diagnosed at the age of 16. I sat my parents down and I said, as much as I know you love me and you want to protect me, but I really need to find things out on my own. This world is so big. I need to spread my wings, so that I can let people know that I'm strong, and whatever they were saying, it's wrong. I am strong and I will conquer this no matter what. And I proved them, right. And they're so proud of me, and I'm so proud of them for being there for me as well. It's not easy. To be frank, speaking with you now, I am a little bit sick. I have pains, the crisis. I have pains on my shoulder, but now it's getting well. I've been drinking lots of water, and yeah, but that's what I'm saying. At times it can come just like that. And so yesterday was a little bit awful, but now I'm okay. So it's not easy. You cannot see it on the outside, but it's painful. It's painful, really. It's painful. Yeah.
Honestly, you are definitely a warrior and you should be proud of yourself. I'm definitely proud of you, and I'm sure that those that are also listening are proud of you from everything that you've been through, from things that people have
Yeah.
said that may. I think people can be so heartless at times when they don't really know what you're going through. And to be quite honest with you, they shouldn't have to know what you're going through to be
That.
kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just yeah, it's just a lot. And honestly, like, I just thank God for your life, that you're dreaming here with me,
Amen.
telling your story, and I just pray that people are able to hear what you've been
Yeah.
through and just know that it's possible to be able to give
Yep.
birth, have a good relationship,
Definitely.
to speak
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
area of sickle cell, not owning the sickness, but just saying that, what, yes, I may have sickle cell, but I'm an overcomer. I can overcome
Yes.
whatever may come my way. So honestly, I'm even just lost for words. Like, just seeing you smile, seeing you be on here
Thank
is great. It's absolutely great. You're so strong, and we definitely do
thank you
admire.
so much.
So I also want to know, like, for those that know of people that have sickle cell or are sickle cell patients, what type of
Mm.
things do you do to help with your crisis? Was there type of foods that you changed, or how did your lifestyle change from it?
Well, as I said, when I was young, and sometimes when I went to Ghana, my grandma advised my mom not to eat how do you say that? Granite soup, too much oil, um, just not too much oil on my food, more vegetables. When, for example, today I eat fries, the next day I need to try and eat healthy food, so that in my system it will restore and
Yeah.
wash away the fat and you know all the bad things, ingredients in it. So yeah, from a younger age I already started eating healthy. It's very important. It's also important to listen to your body. When you find out, or when you see you're tired, you need to stop with everything that you're doing and save it for the next day. It's so important, and try and avoid stress. I always say in this life, you cannot really avoid stress, but have that great mindset. Just if you're stressed, listen to a song that will inspire you. Listen or watch TV, your favorite program, to avoid stress, because stress can be a factor for us to have these sickle cell crisis. When the weather is changing, you need to wear good clothes, as I'm wearing now my sweater, because you would think that, yeah, we are going to autumn, I can wear a t-shirt, but that would be a misstep where you can get sick. So you always need to nurture yourself well, take care of yourself. I cannot party straight, 5 days at a row. You need to listen to your body. It's so important. Drink lots of water, to hydrate your body. Eat healthy, sleep well is so important. And yeah, the things that you think that you cannot do, just save it for another time, because you already know what you have. So you need to accept it and write down for yourself what is good for you and what's not good for you, So yeah.
And that's great advice with regards
Yeah.
to, the food wise and just being more aware. I think it's all about a balanced diet and also eating things in moderation, which is also key, whether sickle
Yep.
cell or not. So I think that's
Yep.
very important. So how have you managed to juggle motherhood, being a wife, with, dealing with the pains that you're going through as well? How have you managed to deal with both those two areas of your life?
Yeah. Yeah, it's sometimes when someone asks me, I sometimes I'm quiet, because to be frank, I don't know, but I know that God is always there for me. God is involved in everything that I do, and after God, my mother, because she has always been there since I got my first child. Um, the how do you say it? The pregnancy of my first child was very awful, and so I was a little bit depressed as well for a very long time, and she was always there to support me. But as I said, yesterday I had a video on my Instagram page, and I told the people that to have sickle cell, you really need to have a supportive husband, who will be there for you no matter what, 24/7. Because yeah, let's be frank, we are fragile, even when we are tired, we can get sick the next day. So you need someone um, who will look at you and say that, oh, I can see you're tired. Just let it be. Go and sleep, rest well. The next day it will be okay. I have 3 children, and he is always there for me, taking care of them when I'm not feeling well. That he tells me, go and sleep. All these little things. But if I had a partner who is not there for me, it would be a whole lot, it would be a different story. Because to be frank, this year, if not for my pregnancy, I would say that I had a crisis just one time this whole year, and that's great. That is very great. God is doing His work. So you really need a supportive family, a supportive husband. If you are, if it's due to get married, you need to know your partner well. You need to know your boyfriend very well, because getting into marriage and having sickle cell is a whole lot, and especially with children. You know how children are all over the place. At times, I can sit here and look at them and say, "Wow, I have 3 girls, but." They are strong, and sometimes I look at them and say, wow, today I am exhausted, but I know what I'm fighting for. I know why I'm doing this. So sometimes when I'm even sick, or sometimes when I'm tired, I just pray and get up and know that I'm fighting for them. And so it's not easy, but I just compromise with my husband, and always with my mother as well. When I have appointments, then, or my husband or my mother takes over. So I always have someone who is helping me, so that I can be okay. So it's very important to, yeah, to have a support system, a great support system. And yeah, it's never easy with children, but God is really involved. He's doing His work. So I'm so grateful to Him. Yeah, it's never easy, but we are doing it. So yeah,
Keep doing it, and I
thank
I know
you,
that
dear.
that you're facing, as you continuously mention as we are having this conversation, that God has been your source of strength through
Yeah.
everything, evident
Yeah.
we can see in your life right now. And I know that as you continue to go through life, that He's going to make you stronger to face whatever may come your
Thank
way.
you.
Continue to do what you're doing.
Amen.
You've inspired me, and I'm sure you've inspired so many other people that are listening to the
Thank you.
But when we look at when it comes to relationships and when you got into marriage, was
Mm.
the conversation of in terms of your sickle cell trait, was that a conversation that you had prior to the conversation, prior to meeting your husband?
Mhm.
A thing where you spoke about, you shied away from it? How did you approach that topic with him?
No, since I got diagnosed with sickle cell, when I met someone, I just tell him straight away, this is what I have. And so that I can see if he is, serious, if he is able to take care of me, in times of distress, in times of pain, will he be there for me? So in every relationship, well, I did not have many relationships, but I mean, how do you say that? Well, if I'm talking to a guy, I just, I'm open to them because I just want to know if he will be there for me, as I said, because having children, you know, um, coming by, it's hard, and I know what I've been through. So I always say, yeah, I'm a sickle cell warrior, and this is what you need to do to be able to take care of me. And so when I met my husband, yeah, I told him straight away that, yeah, this is me. I know you cannot see it on the outside, but this is what I've been dealing with. And if you can take care of that, then yeah, we can walk along and we shall see if we get married. And so he never changed. He never turned his back towards me. He said, yeah, I will take care of you. He even said, I will continue where your parents left their work. And so it was, yeah, I'm grateful to God. That's what I can say. So yeah, I told him honestly that this is what I have. I showed him just everything that I went through. And my parents also told him what they need to do, what he needs to do to take care of myself, to avoid stress, to be patient. At times when the sickle cell crisis hits you, at times you can be so frustrated, so angry, so angry, not for a family, but just the pain itself, that the way it hurts and the way that you cannot do anything. The day previously you're okay, and the next day you're broken. Sis, at times when it attacks my back, I can't walk. It's like I've never been walking my whole life. And then you will look at me and say, is this girl, is she okay? But I am. But the next day, then my neighbors will look at me like, wow, she's walking again. What's going on with her? And I do not want to explain to each and every one every time that, yeah, this is what I have, because I put my trust in God. And so, yeah, he has been a great support system. And I just told him straight away that this is what I have, and I hope you can deal with it. And since then, yeah, we are here, and he is coping with it. Yeah.
Awesome, that's awesome. And honestly, we just commend and we also celebrate your husband as
Yeah.
well for
Yeah.
committing to you and supporting you through everything. Like
Yeah.
it's absolutely amazing, honestly. So a big shout out to your husband for really taking on
Thank
this
you.
into you. It's honestly inspiring, and it's lovely to see. It's lovely, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
If any, so
Thank
I know
you.
that when we were speaking, we were talking about work. It's something that's come up a lot with employers is that it seems as though they're not aware that
Mm-hmm.
sickle cell is something that affects people, and is something that should not be looked down upon, and should be seen as something that's quite serious, and there should
Yeah.
be some element of sympathy and understanding with this. However, many employers don't. They seem, as you said, 1 minute you're fine, 1 minute you're not, but that's not down to you. It's
It's
down to how you.
awful.
So how has that been in terms of employment? Are you working now? Have you stopped working? What's your current situation at the moment?
At the moment, I'm not working. I'm at home, doing things for myself, selling skincare products and all that. And as I said, with my first child, it was awful. I got very ill, and at times, I had symptoms of depression. And so from that moment, I did not go to work. And yeah, I I really needed to find closure, because my firstborn, it's your first child, first pregnancy, and you want things to go perfectly. And so when things didn't go that way as how I wanted, it really it really put me down. So I was working at the airport here of Schiphol, Amsterdam, and I loved the work. I studied tourism, and I worked there for 6 years. But yeah, after I had my first child, and I didn't went back because of what I went through. So basically now I'm at home, taking care of the children, doing things for myself, basically. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so when I look at your obviously your social media and things like that, what brought you to the point where you felt as though you were ready to, put yourself out there with regards to sickle cell? Because Instagram, as we know it, can be a very, very mean and dark place. So putting yourself out there can cause so many different things to come about, and really even it affects your mental state. So what was the reasoning behind you being so open about, being a sickle cell warrior and things like that? And how has the response been as put your life out to the public?
Yeah. Well, thank you for the question. For the people that know me, they already know I have sickle cell, And for the people that don't know me, they're always surprised. Sometimes they text me and say, "Are you sure you have sickle cell?" I've just been going on the internet and looking for some answers or looking for what the illness is. And sometimes I get great feedback. Sometimes I just get crazy texts like, how are you able to find your husband, crazy things. But yeah, like, okay. But at the same time, the reason why I'm open about it is because this is me. I cannot change and do anything else about it. This is the way God has created me, and He knows why I have sickle cell. It has made me stronger today, because the people that know me, I'm always with my mom, mommy's girl. I was so soft, but now that I have children, now that I'm married, I'm now so strong, so independent, and so that's why I just want them to know that you can do it no matter what. If I can do it, you can do it. And you need to accept me for me, because I have accepted myself a long time ago, and I cannot hide it because this is me and it's part of my life. And I want the world to know what we are going through, because as I said, you don't see it on the outside, but I want them to know that we are also suffering with this illness. And it really needs to go worldwide, because at times it can be hard, as I said, and I just felt like I shouldn't be ashamed of it, because this is me, this is a part of me, and everywhere I go, I will continue and talk about it, so people will know what to do with when they have a friend who has it, or a partner, or when you're at school and you have schoolmates who has it, then you know what to do. When you have a
Yeah,
friend who has it, then sometimes you will ask him or her, "How are you doing? How are you feeling today?" Just the little things, it will help. And so that's why I said, okay, then I will put it on my page so people would know what it is. And yeah, it has been, for me, it's been good. As I said, I've accepted it. So whatever you will say, I will just let it go.
yeah.
Yeah,
Your know who you are and what you faced and the things. No one can define you, which is awesome.
yeah,
Which is awesome
yeah.
to hear as well. So on the screen now we just have your Instagram page, which people can follow you on, and you also mentioned you have a business as well. So how long have you been doing your business? Tell us a bit about that business that you have at the moment.
Yeah, I've been in network marketing for 3 years since 2017. So after I
Okay.
had my firstborn, because as I said, I couldn't work, but I did not want you to sit still. I'm that type. I always want to move. I always want to do things. And yeah, at that year, I was also married. I was like, okay, I also want to support my husband. I do not want
Yeah.
him to work all alone. So from that moment, I started selling skincare products that are 100% natural. I have a sensitive skin, and so that has always been my priority to sell skincare products that are 100% natural. And yeah, since 2017, I've been in network marketing, selling skincare products and weight loss products as well. And along the line, since a few weeks ago, I started a podcast because, yeah, I love to talk. I don't know if you have if you have seen
Nice.
it. I can
Nice.
talk and talk and talk the whole day.
Fine. It's fine. Keep talking. Keep talking. As long as the platform that you're building is what people want to hear. People want to hear things
Yeah,
like this. Your journey. People want to know how you've managed to get through it. And most times it's a case of people see you and think, yeah, I can do it too. So
yeah,
you're doing
yeah.
great. You're doing great.
Thank you
Continue.
so much. Thank you
Continue.
so much.
You really inspired me, and honestly, like your story is touching me in such a different way. It's
Ah,
always, as much as I know about sickle cell and things like that.
yeah.
Every single time I speak to anyone who has sickle cell, I learn something new. I learn something different, and today has just been so inspiring for me. And I just want to say thank you so much
Thank you so much.
for inspiring us and being so open and vulnerable, because it's not easy. But as you
No.
said, God has been your strength and will continue to be your strength. So thank
Yeah.
you. So just following
Amen.
you on there. So I just want to say a big thank you to all of those who tuned in this evening to Edifying Moments, where we are talking about Sickle Cell Awareness Month, which is the month of September, which has now come to an end. However, sickle cell is something that we will not stop talking about. Just because it's over, we'll continue to talk about it and also keep ourselves informed. Please make sure you follow Mariska on all her social media platforms as well. I'm just going to put that on the screen. And is there anything, last few words you want to say to those that have been on the chat? I'll bring up some comments just so we can see who's joined us. We've got Edith.
Yep. Oh yeah,
We've
Edith.
we've got I Am Champion. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with him. Thank you so much for
No.
joining.
Thank
Then
you.
we've also got a
Zina.
comment. Yeah, got a comment.
Perfectly.
I was just remembering the time, the day, what happened at the gym. We've
Yeah.
got him.
She was there. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Champion wrote, some people are very heartless. People with sickle
Mm-hmm.
cell deserve the love everyone gets and should be looked down upon, which I totally agree on.
No one. Yeah. It's heartless.
We all deserve to be loved. And
Yeah.
we've got a message here from Rena. Beautiful, which
Ah,
is amen, you are a warrior. Bev
thank
again.
you.
Amen, you are a warrior indeed. And
Thank
you must
you.
speak. You are definitely strong. We
Oh,
all
Hima.
we all admire. And Zena as well has come back with another comment. My
Thank
sister was
you.
so proud of you. And last but not least, we have Melissa, who
Melissa, my sister. Yeah.
always, which is
Thank you so
amazing.
much.
Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. It's been good. Despite our technical difficulties, we still managed to see things through and
Yeah.
also speak with yourself. A big thank you once again. Please make
Thank
sure if you're
you.
tuning in now to on Mariska on her social media platforms to see what she's up to, see what's new, and also support her business. If you are in the Netherlands, you do ship internationally as well to people for the
Yes,
skincare.
I do.
All
Yes,
right,
I
fantastic.
do. Yeah.
Great. So anyone that's interested in some natural skincare products, please make sure you contact Mariska as well. If you have any questions, then also contact her on there. But I'm not going to take too much of your time because I know you've got your babies to attend to. So thank you once again for
Nice shift.
this will definitely not be the first, nor will it be the last that we have a conversation. I look forward to seeing the great things that God does in
Yeah.
your life. Have a great evening.
Amen.
So
Thank
much.
you. Thank you
Thank
so much for having me. God bless you. Take care.
you. Take care. Bye bye. Okay, so that was Mariska Mensa, all the way from the Netherlands, who is a mother, a wife, and she is also a sickle cell warrior. She is absolutely amazing. Hope that you guys have been inspired. I have been inspired by her story, a true warrior and indeed a true survivor and warrior as well. But before we finish, I have another guest who goes by the name of Dennis, who will be joining us briefly before we finish to talk about his experience as well as a sickle cell survivor. So we have Dennis with joined us. Good evening, Dennis. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you. How are you?
Doing well by the grace of God. With God's grace.
Awesome. So, just so because we're short for time, I just want you to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and also when you were diagnosed with sickle cell.
Who am I? I'm Dennis. Based here in London. I'm a designer, brand designer, graphic designer, working in the advertising media industry. Been doing that for the past 5-6 years. So when was I diagnosed with sickle cell? So I was born here in the UK, and then mom took me back home to Ghana in Accra, and during my infant years when I was a baby, growing up in Ghana, there was just a few things about me that was unusual when I was growing up. So my mom didn't know what it was, and also when I was brought from the hospital, there was no diagnosis of it being sickle cell. So it was a situation where I was taken to various hospitals and clinics, specialist hospitals, to see what the problem was. But they couldn't tell what it was exactly. So
Right.
it was until when I was about 5-6 years that my mom flew me back here to the UK. And then we went to specialist clinic. And then, they ran some tests, blood tests on me. And then they said, he's got the sickle cell trait. But then it wasn't your normal like sickle cell anemia because there's different types, So it's called sickle cell beta thalassemia. Yeah.
Okay. So please tell me a bit more about that. You mentioned there are different types, so please tell me a bit more about that.
Okay. Well, about my type or just the different types?
About your type.
Okay. So sickle cell beta thalassemia is so they have the normal one, which is sickle cell anemia, as your friend was talking about earlier. And with beta thalassemia, you do not seem to have a lot of crisis as people with anemia cell trait. So normally, when you have the anemia crisis, you're more vulnerable to being ill. You're more vulnerable to being sick. You're not more vulnerable to visiting the hospital more regularly. But with the beta thalassemia, you're less likely. So normally with sickle cell, it's a thing where your red blood cells have to send oxygen into the various parts of your body. But with my hemoglobin or with my blood, I don't know, it was a thing where I would get the crisis, but it wasn't as common as those with the anemia trait. And also people with anemia traits, they have to have blood transfusions. I don't have to have blood transfusions. People with the anemia trait, they normally have to take so many different kinds of medications. And they have to have vitamin C, they have to have folic acid, penicillin. I have to take that, but it's a thing where even if, let's say, I were to stop my medication, it wouldn't be like I then fall into a crisis. Yeah, hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Yeah, sorry, your line went off there. Yeah, so that's the difference. And I think it was a situation where when I was born, I was fine. Everything was okay. My normally after you're born, and they have something called the blood cultures. So basically, it shows like the blood type and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why, for some reason, they couldn't tell what it was at that moment. I don't know, maybe because I was still a baby, but it was just as I was growing up, because it was a thing where I'll be playing with friends and all that, but then I'll get tired more easily. It'll be a thing where when I go to school and we have PE, physical education, I'll be the one who gets much more fatigued. So, I will always come home like, Mom, I'm feeling pain. So we didn't know exactly what it was. So it was when my mom took me to the hospital and brought me to London, to the hospital, and then they said, yeah, this is what it is. So I had to learn how to adjust, to live with it, to be able to understand that, okay, this is what it is, and I need to readjust the way of living. One thing I was told was to be able to drink more water, drinking in more fluids, because it's to do with your red blood cells, and your body is made up, 70% of your body is made out of water. So it's a thing where I always have to hydrate myself. So what triggers the crisis is when, number one, I do not hydrate properly. I do not drink enough water. And number two, if I were to, let's say, go out with my friends to play basketball and I overexert myself physically. So, these were the various things that would trigger the crisis.
And then, what age were you diagnosed with sickle cell? Sorry.
I mean, it's a thing where, okay, so it's a thing where I believe maybe it was a thing where I was born with it, but then getting to find out or getting to know when it was, that was when I was around 7, 8 years old of age.
Okay, so at that moment, that's when you began to realize that, okay, there was something that was a bit unusual, is what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay. So with that, do you think that you gained do you think you were informed enough did you think your mum or those around you were informed enough as to how to deal with the crisis and things like that? How did it change your life in terms of, your mum looking after you? How did it affect the dynamics with your friendship with your mother and things like that?
So it basically, it just made my mom more cautious about me. It just made her more aware and more cautious in terms of, she made my school aware that, okay, this is what, it is. So he has to be, a lot of attention had to be given to him. Because, at 7, 8 years, you just don't care. You just want to play. And you just want to go out and play during break time. You just want to hang out with your friends. You don't want to miss it when you're going to play basketball, football, and all that kind of stuff, really. So it was a thing where my mom, made it aware to my school that, look, a closer eye has to be put on him, and making sure that the people around me knew that, okay, this is what Dennis has to deal with. So also always make sure that he's hydrated, always make sure that he's taking his meds and all that. So she just became more cautious about me. Really.
Sure. Yeah. And so she should be. I mean, it's important for people to be aware and to be informed as to, what you're going through, so that should anything happen, they know how to act on that. So moving on to you growing up and, getting to know who you are and getting older, how did that affect your just growing up, your upbringing, in terms of, interacting with people, being in the workplace? Because we seem to find that a lot of workplaces are not so much informed when it comes to sickle cell and what the traits and what could potentially happen with regards to tiredness and things like that. So what obstacles did you face growing up, knowing that you had sickle cell within the workplace? What obstacles did you face?
Oh, you mean with my workplace or just growing up, just in general?
I would say in general, and as well as that, your workplace as well.
Okay, so if I were to skip from when I was diagnosed and all that, so I mean, I went to boarding school in Ghana. I went to Achimota School, and so with that, that's what my mom made my teachers, or the house, they call them the house masters, aware of. Hello?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
So she made them aware of, this situation. I also had to let my friends, my seniors, aware of the situation. But then it was a thing where not a lot of people understood what it was. So obviously, when you're going to boarding school in Ghana, it's different from schooling here. It's very, I don't know how to discipline. Discipline is something that is really enforced in boarding school, and getting punished by seniors and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
that was a common trait.
Yeah.
So I think it was a thing where people did not understand what it was. Yeah, people did not fully understand what it was. I remember one time when I had a crisis because one morning we were told to go jogging, and I was in my second year, and basically those above me were like, what do you mean you don't want to go? I told them what it was, but they were like, yeah, but everyone is going. We don't care what it was. Like, they were like, do you have like a permit or a letter or whatever? I was like, yeah, you just go speak to the housemaster. But anyway, they forced me. They're like, you have to go. You can't just, use any excuse. So I joined them for the jogging. This was about, should I say, 3 or 4 miles,
Yeah.
And then, I mean, literally an hour later, I could begin to feel the pain. And, when you have the crisis, when you've had the crisis more than 5 or 6 or 10 times, when it's coming and what you have to do. Yeah. So it was a thing where I was like, nah, I don't want to have a crisis here. So I had to go back into the dormitory. I was in a lot of pain. I wanted to see how I would feel. And the thing about the crisis is that I could be in pain for 7 hours straight. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's a thing where I could be in pain for 7 hours straight, and it's a thing where it would be a thing where it would go down, but then it would still be there. So you hoping that, okay, the pain can just minimize. But as it's there continuously, it gets to a point where you have to know, okay, look, I need to call an ambulance. So I was in my dormitory all the way to the evening. I was still in a lot of pain. I couldn't sleep. I didn't know what to do. Then I just had to call the ambulance.
Yeah.
So it was from that time when, people within the house I was in boarding school realized that, okay, so this is what Dennis is kind of facing. And then, from there, I was like, I made them aware. So, this is what can happen. So they were like, all right, cool. So from there, came back to the UK, went to college, then went to university. During those days, I never really had a crisis because I was doing my best to take care of myself. It was when I started working, it was in a working environment where things got a bit difficult again.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in a working environment where things got difficult again. So in the industry that I work in, it can be a bit stressful. And also it's an industry where you have to work your way in terms of when you're hired from it as a junior designer or an intern. It's just almost like the fashion industry, working long hours, working till 8, 9 o'clock, unusual hours and all that kind of stuff. So there was one period where I was hired because this was back in 2015. I was hired in a sports company working for big brands like UEFA Champions League, Premier League and stuff like that. And one evening, oh yeah, I remember, yeah. So I joined them, and this was, I think, 3 months in. So one evening we finished work and all that, and then they were like, oh, we're all just gonna play 5-a-side. So it was a thing where, because I was now getting used to the agency, getting used to the people I was working with and all that. First I was like, no, I'm not interested. But they were like, well, we really want you to be part of the team and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to join you guys. So we went, finished work, joined them. We played for a bit. I think I even played for about just half an hour, really. Then they finished, then they went to the pub, As I'm saying, it's an industry where basically almost for you to fit in, you kind of have to please them and all that kind of stuff, show that you really want to be a part of their team. You really want to work here and all that, you really want to be committed. So they went to the pub afterwards. I joined them, and I could begin to feel that I was getting really tired, and I just didn't want to be there and end up getting into pain or getting a crisis. So I was there with them for half an hour. I was like, oh guys, anyway, I have to go. So already I could see some of them were looking at, oh, this guy is a bit antisocial, really. But I knew what I was going through. And when I was hired, I told them about the sickle cell thing. But I kind of felt like they didn't understand what it was. So yes, I got home. Then I began to feel the pains. It went all the way to the next Saturday morning. Then I had to call an ambulance. And then I was admitted to hospital. And I was in hospital for about 4 days. I was in hospital for about 4 days. And they kept calling me from work. And they were like, so when are you going to come back? And I was like, well, I'm still in hospital, so I don't know. I can't tell when, until when I'm told when I'm going to be discharged. So I finally go back to work on the Friday, the week after.
Right.
Then I went to work. Everything was fine, but in the evening, I could still feel a bit of pain. So I even asked them if I could leave a bit early. They allowed me to go early. And then the next Monday, I came to work and all that, and I could see one of the managers just wasn't pleased with me, you know. And I told him about, you know, the whole sickle cell thing, but you know, I kind of felt like he didn't understand what it was. He did not really understand what was going on. So guess what? I think literally in 4 weeks to a month after, I was let go from that place. Hello? 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 Oh my God, that's right. Hello? Hello, Lucy, can you hear me? Hello, Lucy?